navigate our own airspace and our own aviation industry. But obviously, this is obviously something that is on a grander scale. So at this moment in time, unfortunately, you've caught me on a week where my manager, who handles the majority of the whistleblowing reports, is away this week. But in his absence, I will obviously handle anything and take it to the relevant parties to have a look over and then take it from there. So I can't offer any advice at this moment in time, but I certainly can move it on to relevant parties.
Well, of course, this type of program, if it is true, it's endangering all of us.
Right.
And basically, I think that from the research I've done alone and many other people, there are lots of documents that point to the basically weather control that's been going on for a long time, which explains the extreme weather and everything that's being blamed on the fraudulent claim of global warming. But basically, I mean, I'm looking at pictures now. I must tell you, I'm going to publicise this information as widely as possible so that it can't be contained. Right. If this information is genuine, some of it is sensitive, and they've asked me not to reveal it because it will personally lead back to them, and they've claimed they've had death threats. And they've given me a lot of information. I really do believe I wouldn't be calling you up unless I felt, quite nervous. I really think that this is genuine, and basically, I mean, I can read you some of it to give you an idea. If you're experienced, if you understand aviation.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, let me read a little bit, and obviously I've got to keep some of it sensitive, so I've got some for you. So I'll just read out about 4 pages, and there's much more than this, but basically he says, or they say, I don't know if it's he or she, Max, the time has come to come clean. Hopefully what I write here will help end the worldwide atrocity that I've been a part of. I know that what I say will shock many, but seeing that you seem to be almost there, uncovering the truth, the sooner this is out in the open, the better. So you know, I am a management pilot with one of the carriers that has figured in your videos. I am involved in the regulatory side of things, which is required since just about everything we do in these spraying programs is illegal, according to the CAA and JAA regulations. If a pilot becomes aware of what we are doing, he or she will come to me first, and I am supposedly to take it from there. Surprisingly, very few of our pilots have become aware of the program, but your videos have alarmed the small group of managers that I report to, and fear the cat may be soon out the bag. At first, I thought you had actually cracked it from your latest videos. You accurately identified the method of getting the aluminium oxide into the atmosphere, but not where it is stored. Right in the middle of most airliners, apart from the very short-range ones, is the CWT, or Centre Wing Tank, Fuel Tank. As aircrafts are fuelled... lost my place. As aircraft are fuelled, the tanks in the wings are always fuelled first to preserve what is known as favourable wing bending moments. Unless the aircraft is scheduled for a long-range flight, the centre wings are empty and can be isolated if required by the use of shut-off and cross-feed valves. Doing it this way allows us to accurately load the right amount of the material and avoid overloading the aircraft, which is a safety risk, particularly on takeoff. You are correct about the TMA. Other methods of delivery required too much in the way of pumps and switches, which meant too many people would notice what was going on. Under the guise of fitting an inerting system, which is automatic and has no cockpit controls, we can pressurise the central wing tank enough so that once a simple valve is actuated remotely, the TMA is drawn through the lines by pressure differential and flows into the exhaust where it does its thing. And doing it this way has only one drawback. It limits spray flights by us and other airlines to shorter range flights, but that is just a matter of scheduling and logistics. Really, the only people who need to be involved are the people who empty the honey cart, who must purge the TMA system after use, They are required to wear protective clothing for honeycart job, which also covers them for accidental exposure to TMA. The refuelers must configure the fuel system from a panel under the wing. Have you ever wondered why most refueling systems have two pipes attached to the wings? Extraneous weight issues are handled by a small team of flight dispatchers who exclusively handle the spraying flights. Sometime before each flight, they check the destination, alternate and departure airports, the planned loads, and make sure that the prevailing winds will guarantee that the runways most likely to be used have a performance safety pad that will compensate for the extra weight that the pilots are unaware of. If there is any doubt that TMA will not be loaded, some other safety precautions, including adjusting the FMC stall margin values so that the pilots do not climb too high for their real weight, which would cause a high altitude stall. One of the ways we realised this was a problem graphically illustrated back in 2009. Guess what I'm talking about? I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
Under this programme, I have personally been subjected to death threats should I ever reveal what is happening. Low-level personnel are simply trained to do the job and have no real idea of what is happening. Little do people realise that those doing what is considered menial jobs, refuelling and waste disposal, are paid very handsomely for what they do, and their general ignorance means they don't ask questions. I guess that is just as well because they are monitored 24/7. By doing this, I hope to end the fear and guilt I and others have been suffering. Long ago, I was spun a tale about how the programme was a beneficial thing for the world, and I believed with all my heart. Eventually, after much soul-searching, I realised the evil in what I was such an integral part. The second mail I'll share with you is far more detailed about the spraying process and the logistics. Hello, Max.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've obviously got the gist of it. The thing is, are these companies based in or is this company based in the UK? Do you
Well, we suspect very, very strongly that some very well-known low-cost carriers are part of this programme, and that's how they manage to survive. Some of them have got very new fleets that are quite big, and they charge very little for their seats. And basically, the indication is that these are government contracts, not necessarily from the. I have been told it's by an agency whose initials are EGCA, and the programme is known as HYDRA. That's a code name for it, and the agency involved is called SIBERIUS, known inside the programme. But basically, he goes on to talk about how the logistics are sorted out. He's furnished me with some of the rosters for the spray flights, the way that they communicate with the agency, the face-to-face briefings they have in Copenhagen, and basically some of this information will lead directly back to them, so they've asked me not to share that. Now, I'm pretty certain he's told me that the intelligence services monitor my activities because I'm raising awareness to very sensitive programs, and so I'm certain that they've probably got a copy of all the emails he sent me. Now I know that he made up an email account to send me this information, so he must be aware that that we are completely monitored. Everyone is anyway now. We have no privacy whatsoever. And basically, they certainly will have all this information. So, although he said to me some of this information is very sensitive, he would be rather foolish to think that the authorities who will be monitoring me will not already be in possession of all these emails and all this information.
Can I ask, what is the purpose of the sprays that you're aware of?
Well, it's a multifaceted programme, as far as I'm aware. Basically, they are the cover story is it's covert geoengineering. Now, what this is, it involves solar radiation management, which is spraying nanoparticles of various metals into the atmosphere. And the nanoparticles are extremely small. They're the same size as the molecules in our cells in our body. And basically, what they want to do, they are using this. Now, I have filmed many times. I'm prolific at this now. The effects of weather modification in the atmosphere. They use various Tesla technologies. They use ionospheric heaters, such as the one at HARP, but various other radar facilities, like the IceCat 3D system in Norway. There's one in Russia. There are several in Germany, actually. There's several in the UK. And basically, what happens is these nanoparticles, these metals that are spraying into the atmosphere, change the conductivity of the atmosphere. They act as semiconductors. So what happens is frequencies at extremely low frequency or very low frequency or very high frequency can be pulsed through the atmosphere, and they can change the atmospheric conditions. Now, I've filmed this many times where there will be a pulse of energy, and I can see this because you'll see lots of little parallel lines that are very clearly defined, but this only lasts for about 5 or 10 minutes, and the clouds will change dramatically. You get these lines in the clouds, and this lasts for about 10 minutes, and then immediately afterwards the clouds start changing, and they will become sort of fuzzy and spread out and change. And I have filmed this many times. The whole process can take about 40 minutes, and basically you end up in a situation where they create cloud cover.
Okay. And how long would you say this program has been active?
Well, this whistleblower has said he applied for a job and then found out that it was something else. And because he was a pilot he was a fast jets pilot in the military, the recruitment system went further, and basically he was in the late 90s that he's been involved in this. So it's been going on for quite some time in Europe. In America, it's been going on for longer.
And obviously, excuse my ignorance, but bringing it to the attention, what is the reason that it's coming to the attention at this moment? What's brought it to the head at this moment in time?
Okay, well, the major concerns are, like, I have been aware that the weather's changing. They've been trying to blame it on this fraudulent claim that there's global warming, but I can assure you that's not true. If you know that Vikings were growing barley in Greenland up until the 14th century, and the Romans were growing grapes in Yorkshire, basically the Earth goes through lots of cycles, but they're using the fact that we're coming out of a mini ice age that happened in the Middle Ages as an excuse for global warming, because they have a big agenda for the world, and it's called the United Nations Agenda 21. And this is one of the problems. See, the real concern about this spray program is that the levels of toxins that they have been spraying over a prolonged period of time is heading towards a toxic tipping point in nature. All the trees everywhere in the world are showing signs of suffering. This is documented. This is quite a concern. 50% of the bees' population has gone. Without bees, 70% of our food will be gone within 4 years because they pollinate all the food. This is a side effect of partly the toxins that are being sprayed, but also the increased electromagnetic frequencies from this Tesla technology they use to control the weather. I've got documents to prove this. This isn't speculation.
I do understand. I'm just trying to think. Obviously, this is...
The health of impacts, shall I tell you that the health impacts, I have got studies from the Wright-Patterson Air Force Research Laboratory that prove, A, aluminium is in jet fuels, which the massive debunking disinformation